Is the new BMW M5 competition any good? Well, in this video, we're going to find out because I'm going to launch it and see how quick it can get to 60 miles an hour. I'll talk you through all the upgrades that BMW has made on this car in terms of the design, the infotainment system, and the tweaks they've done to the chassis. I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching CarWow. Let's start off this video by talking about the price. You can only get the M5 as the competition version in the UK, and it starts from £102,000, which is quite a lot of money. Now you might be thinking, Matt, at the beginning of the video, you said this was the new M5, but it doesn't actually look that much different than the old M5. And that's because it's actually a midlife facelift. But BMW has tweaked the designs. They've redesigned the grille slightly, the front bumper and the lights. And being an M5 competition, you get a blacked out grille, the M5 competition badges as well, and huge air intakes to feed cool air into the intercoolers. This car also has the upgraded laser lights, which look really cool. There at the side, the only change over the old M5, the wheel designs. They're all 20 inches, but they're slightly different than before. And that car looks the same. So you get the usual M5 gills. You also get the M5 fistable door mirrors. You get side skirts. It sits low to the ground to make it look more sporty. And the key thing with the M5, carbon fibre roof. Oh yeah. And obviously being the competition, this has like the black pack, they call it, where everything's like blacked out. Oh yeah, just looks meaner, doesn't it? Here at the back, changes over the old M5 include a new rear bumper, a new diffuser. Oh, and they've even redesigned the tailpipes. Look, apparently they've made them narrower. But let's see, I've got the CarWow log of truth. Will this still fit in there? Oh yeah, look at that. Still fits, and they're still real. No fakery. What's also new are the tail lights. They look really cool. And then, other than that, it's just like a old BMW M5 competition. So you get the M5 competition badges and the little boot lip spoiler as well. Here in the front, BMW has upgraded the M5's infotainment system. So you get the new latest system, which does over-the-air updates. It's got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both of which are wireless. Very, very good system to use. Really do like it. Also, what's new? These setup buttons are here in M mode, like you get on the M8. The seats, apparently, they're new, although they do look similar to the ones in the old M5. Now that really cool thing where they illuminate the M5 button, really nice. They have electrically adjustable bolsters and stuff like that. Very, very comfy. Other than that though, just like the previous M5, so you get all the upgrades like the M steering wheel, the little M2 and M1 buttons. Probably should have said that the other way around, would have been more logical, wouldn't it? But these give you instant access to certain modes that you've configured the car to. Really, really good. So you can just tap it while you're driving and change driving mode. You also get your special red starter button. There are the M floor mats down here as well. You've also got the M gear selector with the different modes for the gear shift changes, so you can choose between 3 different settings of ferocity. You also get M badging on the car sills as well. Here in the back, it's just like a normal 5 Series, so plenty of knee room and headroom. Very, very comfortable. Though, being the M5, you do get merino soft leather as standard, so even the rear passengers can enjoy that. They can also enjoy the fact that there's some M branding back here as well on the seat belts. Look, with the M colours, stripy bits. Just like with the normal 5 Series, you've got a very big practical boot. It's 530 litres to be precise, which is easily enough to accommodate a man, or more usefully, 8 small luggage cases. There is one thing that's annoying about it though, look. Well, you can open it using the key, like I just did to get out. You can't shut it using the key. So you have to press a button. Such a hardship. Anyway, that brings me on to 5 annoying things about the new BMW M5. This car may cost £100,000, but you don't get the adaptive cruise control with steering assist as standard. It's a £5,000 option, which is just theft, robbery, downright evil of BMW. You get that kind of tech as standard on a Toyota Yaris, for Christ's sake. Now you do get a performance exhaust as standard on this car, which is good, and it sounds all right. Have a listen to this. We'll start it up. It's okay. However, due to noise regulations, it's not quite as noisy as on the pre-facelifted version of the M5. In fact, in America, they don't have all the same noise regulations, so it's louder than this. Let's hear it. Go on, rev it up. Not not terrible, but not amazing either. For some reason, BMW doesn't do an estate version of the M5, and I really wish they would, because I love fast estate cars, and that's why I actually prefer the Audi RS6. In fact, if you want to see my full in-depth video review of that car, put a little link to it up there. It should be popping out just now in the top right corner of the screen, or there is a link below the video. You can't get the M5 with rear wheel steering like you can the M550i. That's a bit annoying if you do lots of town driving and need that added manoeuvrability. The economy of this car is claimed to be 25.4 miles per gallon, which isn't terrible, but the reality is you're going to do worse than that. In fact, I've only managed 5.5 miles per gallon. And that's in 31 miles. We have been driving it quite enthusiastically, but that's horrible, isn't it? It's not all negative though. Here's 5 good things about this car. If you pay £8,000, you can get carbon ceramic brakes, which will give you better braking performance. You get some gold calipers, and it'll save you 23 kilos, and that's unsprung mass, which will help improve the handling. And as part of that £8,000, you also get an increased top speed from 155 miles an hour to 189 miles an hour. You get specially tuned M Division Sport suspension, and they come with adaptive dampers as standard with 3 different modes: Comfort, Sport and Sport Plus. The car has stiffer engine mount over a normal 5 Series, so that when you put your foot down it doesn't flex as much in the chassis, and when you're cornering it keeps it nice and stable, which improves the handling. In fact, to improve the handling further on this car, BMW has added lots of different bits of chassis bracing to make it nice and rigid. The M5 gets a clever 4-wheel drive system, so you can have it normal 4-wheel drive, you can have it rear drive biased, you can actually make it completely rear wheel drive, and you've even got an M Sport differential over the rear axle which can distribute the torque between the 2 rear wheels. BMW has upgraded the M5's cooling system over the pre-facelifted version, specifically so that people can take it on track and it's less likely to overheat. Now let's talk about the engine, because that's what this car is all about. It's a 4.4 litre twin-turbo V8 with 625 horsepower and 750 newton meters of torque. Drives all 4 wheels via an 8-speed automatic gearbox. This one's got the upgraded carbon fibre engine cover. You'll be able to find this on eBay tonight with no reserve. Right, now it's time to drive the new M5, and let's start off by launching it, because this is carwow and that's what we do. So BMW says this car will do 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds, which quite frankly is insane. But I want to see for myself, so I've got my specialist timing gear up here. I'm going to launch it, see what happens. To launch this car, you have to be in stability control off mode, which is annoying today because the track's a little bit slippery because it's gold and a bit damp. That could hamper things somewhat, but let's give it a go anyway. Oh, there we go. We've got a time. No! 6.28 seconds, that's not right. Let's try again. I think there's a problem with my specialist timing gear. And there lies the problem with the f***ing BMW. Launching it is an asshole. You can launch it once or twice and then you have to drive around for a bit so the car calms down and then you can launch again. Now you don't have that problem at all with a Porsche Panamera Turbo. That car will just launch over and over and over and over again until you're bored of it. Do you know what? If you want to see my in-depth video review of the Porsche Panamera Turbo, I've put a little link there. It should be popping out in the top right corner of the screen. If you can't see it, there's also a link below this video. Watch the video of that, see how quick that did 0 to 60. All right, let's have another go at this. Launch is active. Did it read properly? It did 0 to 60 in 3.45 seconds. I still think we can go quicker than that. That was a good one. And it was worth the wait. 0 to 60, 2.9 seconds. I forgive it for faffing around. It's all right. Now I've got rid of all my specialist timing gear because I want to show you something else. By pressing this button twice, I can quickly go into 2-wheel drive mode. So the power is all being sent to the rear wheels, which means I can do this. It's just so easy to do. And you can just control it so easy. You know, big circles, little circles. It's so much fun. You're never really going to do that in real life. But when you're a motoring journalist and you don't have to worry about tyres, you can just send it back to the manufacturer. Oops, not much tread left on these. Let's get out of rear-wheel drive mode. Let's get the stability control on and let's drive it a bit more normally. I'm going to keep it in sports mode though, and I'm going to have the stability control in a halfway house. In fact, I'm even going to go and change gears myself. There we go. So what's this car like then? Obviously the engine dominates it. 60, I'm at 60, I've floored it. I'm now at 100. It's so effing quick, this thing. Thankfully, it handles well. It's big, you know, it's almost 2 tons in weight, but it does grip and go around corners really well. And that 4-wheel drive system just giving you lots of traction to catapult out of bends. Very impressive. Stays nice and flat through the turns, gives you loads and loads of confidence. If you get really carried away, there's no hiding the fact that it's a heavy car. It'll start to understeer and push wide, but it does seem to have the edge in terms of handling compared to a Mercedes E63 and definitely over an Audi RS6, but it's still no sports car. It really isn't. And this creates a bit of a problem with it, you see. For the road, it's way too quick. Actually, let me correct myself. For British roads, especially country roads, it's too quick and too big. And actually, the cheaper M550i is a better balance because it's got easily enough performance still, yet it's slightly comfier than this, a little bit less hard edged. I mean, this is not terrible, but you do feel the bumps a bit more in this, even with the suspension slackened off into comfort mode than you do in that M550i. And of course the M550i is quite a whole lot cheaper. Now if you want to see what I really think of that car and why it's so good and how quick it is, so you can decide whether you really need to be doing 0 to 60 in 2.9 seconds or whether the acceleration in that M550i is good enough, I've done a little link to it up there. If you click on the pop-out banner, it should be popping out now. You can watch that video review. Alternatively, if you can't see that, I'll put a link below the video. I mean, it's not taking anything away from this. It's still very, very impressive. And for long motorway journeys, it's not bad at all. It really isn't. But that M550i is a little less noisy and it's also a little more comfortable and relaxing to travel in. There, I said it. Who'd ever thought that I'd rather have the cheaper car than the M5, but I guess I would. Still, this is a great thing. Really, really impressive car. And the changes they've made to it make it even better than before. So then, what's my final verdict on the new BMW M5 competition? Should you avoid it? Should you consider it? Should you shortlist it? Or should you just go right ahead and buy it? Now, it's a really good car, and normally I'd say shortlist it. The only problem is that I just can't justify you spending an extra 30 grand over an M550i. And that's why, ultimately, I'd say avoid the M5 and get the 550i instead.